In this video, we're going to resolve the same problem from question number 1, which was x cubed equals -8, but we're going to use what we call the fractional exponent technique. This is another way of getting the same answer, so this won't change the answer that we already have. The answer that we already have is -2, and we've already gotten it once by using radicals. But this is another way you can get there. And if this way makes more sense, you are welcome to use this way instead of the radical method, especially if you felt like the radical method didn't quite click or you couldn't see yourself doing that way by yourself. The fractional exponents method is predicated on the idea that you have a fractional exponent. I have an exponent in this problem, but it doesn't look like a fraction. So I'm going to rewrite the exponent of 3 as a fraction, which we know we can rewrite as 3/1 because that's how we can rewrite everything as a fraction. Just put the denominator as 1 and you should be set. Now this is where I'm going to look and say to myself, okay, wait, I want to get rid of the 3/1. I want to get rid of it because that's what algebra is about. I want to get x by itself, which means you have to get rid of whatever's near x. And I'm going to use a bit of fraction logic here. I essentially want to get rid of a 3/1, and I want to think, what could I multiply by to get rid of 3/1? And if you're like, multiply? Herbert, what are you talking about? Think of this. Think of how you would cancel a 3 and a 1 if it was just part of any normal problem. Usually to get rid of a 3/1, we deal with its reciprocal, 1/3. And if I think about the reciprocal as another power in this problem, remember the rules of exponents that we've learned probably in middle school, or at least in Algebra 1? We know that when you raise a power to another power, you can multiply the powers together. Well, if I multiply 3/1 and its reciprocal, 1/3, the 3's can cancel, the 1's can cancel, and I'd be left with just x, which is great. But remember, I just introduced something into the problem. Let's not be hasty here. I just introduced this parentheses to the 1/3 power on the left-hand side because I wanted to do something specific with it, but I know that's not how algebra works. I have to also do the same parentheses with the power of 1/3 on the right-hand side because that's the balance aspect of solving equations. Whatever you do on the left, you have to do on the right. But remember why we did it on the left. It's so the 3/1 could cancel with its reciprocal and leave x by itself. And now if I think about -8 to the power of 1/3, that is totally something that I can figure out. Now you could rewrite it as the cube root of -8 to the power of 1. And you could solve it in your head. The cube root of -8 is still -2. Or, especially for those of us who feel like we're not too clear on exponents yet, this is something we could type into our calculator. We could type -8 to the power of 1/3. And of course, we could still get -2 from our calculator. So either way, we know for sure the answer is going to come out to be -2. Whether we do it in our head or do it in our calculator, the answer is for sure going to come out to be -2. And what's most interesting is that that's the same answer we've been getting all along. I've now done this problem 3 times. I've done it by guess and check, I've done it using radicals, and now I've done it using fraction exponents, and no matter what, I'm getting the same answer. So by the time you've now seen this problem work out 3 different ways, hopefully at least one way made sense. Hopefully you could follow my logic in at least one of those and say to yourself, oh, I can see where she got that. Okay, I get that. So thinking about that methodology then, thinking about which way made sense to you, give question number 2 a try with one method or the other. The reason I'm saying to try one method or the other is because I don't expect you to do every problem multiple ways. That seems silly. Well, if you do it one way, you're going to get an answer and then you move on to the next problem. So I don't need you to do both 2b with radicals and fraction exponents. I want you to try to pick one. In the next videos, I'm going to go over both methods again, but I think if you can get this idea pretty well solidified, you can skip those videos. and feel confident that you have the method, and you can maybe use the answer key to just check. So you decide. If you feel like you've gotten the radicals method and it makes sense to you, do 2b with the radicals. If you feel like you've got the fraction exponent method and it makes sense to you, do that with fraction exponents in number 2. And if you know you got the right answer because you checked the key, skip the videos and just move right on. If you feel like you need the videos to explain, though, the next video will show you radicals, and then the video after that will show you rational exponents, so that you can decide if more practice is needed.